G'day, folks. Hail. Welcome to the Celtic Down Under podcast. I'm your host, Jared, and joining me tonight are Liam and John. How you going, Johnny?
I'm good, Jared. My voice is still a little bit hoarse. It was even worse this morning. Just lots of singing, lots of shouting, lots of jubilant cheering from yesterday. So, yeah, apologies if I sound like I've smoked a 10-pack of cigarettes or something.
I think there's a lot of Celtic fans out there in the same boat, mate, so don't stress too much. How you going, Liam?
Good, mate. Good. Aye, it was quite an enjoyable afternoon yesterday, wasn't it?
Funny
Just a wee
thing
bit.
is, funny thing here, this is what I love, right? The name of this episode, Delusions of Adequacy. In our group chat, Liam put that one in there, everyone, just so you know behind the curtain. He put it, goes, I'd love to use this after we pump him on in the derby. And he did it about 2 weeks ago. And we kept the screenshot ready to go. And then as soon as the game was over last night, the first message that I saw after the game was Liam saying, are we using that for the podcast title? So that was the first thing in his head after the game. So there you go.
To be fair, I also had the idea of the Hans Landa CSC, but you know.
Yeah. I was trying to come up with something like Inglorious, you know what, I've used that word. I could probably get away with that because it's not a proper swear word, but Inglorious Bastards, a movie that he's in, and I was like trying to figure out what could we use, but then I'm like, you can't put orange before it instead of Inglorious.
Yeah,
And just as a pod member said, we'll get demonetized straight away and the pod taken down. So there goes that idea. But yeah, it was a good result overall, 3-0. I'll do the usual. We'll start off. We'll go through the starting lineup. So with our lineup here, it was pretty much what was expected. So Schmeichel in goals, Johnston, Carter, Vickers, Scales, and Taylor at the back, McGregor, Bernardo, Hatate in the middle, and then Kuhn on the right, Maida on the left, Kyogo through the middle. The thing looking at that there, jumping off the page at me, is the strength in our bench, the amount of options we had. You got Sinisalo, Trusty, Palmer, Eder, Valley, McGowan, Engels, Forrest, and Ralston. So if you have a look at it, other than Forrest and Ralston, who are guys who come through our academy, every single one of them has been acquired by the club in the last 12 months, except for those two. So quite a bit of talent there. So yeah, we'll just talk about our starting lineup. Johnny, so what was your thoughts when you saw that?
I mean, I just think it was the most logical choice, to be honest. It would be. I know a lot of people were saying that some of the signings that we got on the books, because of the value that we bought them at, you'd expect them to start. I mean, evidence showed that it was the correct decision. Everybody bossed everybody else. I had absolutely no surprises at all. Yeah, it would have been my first choice as well.
On that about starting them, we'll get into that in a little bit after we get to Liam's thoughts on the lineup and everything, but I just want to park that one for a second, but we will come back to it. So Liam, what was your thoughts when you saw that? Anything jumping out the page at you, or were you just like, that was what was expected?
No, I mean, I thought that I didn't think any of the new boys would start, and I actually said last week when I was on Axom, I actually said, whether we make any signings this week or not, and this was before we'd signed any of the 4 players we signed last week. So whether we make any signings or no, we've still got enough in the tank to beat Rangers. So I was confident going into the game that we, regardless of who we brought in last week or didn't, we were going to win this game anyway.
You know where I was when I heard you say that on Axon, Liam? I was sitting next to a pool drinking a mango daiquiri, just like getting all sorts of sun in Fiji. So I can't even escape Liam and the Celtic podcast over there. So great fun.
It's funny because last time I saw a Rangers fan, he called me a fat Fijian bastard or something like that. Right on 5 minutes there, boys. I hope you noticed I waited for that one.
Brilliant. Yeah, that was good fun. So I knew you were going to say that. But yeah, like the thing is, those new players, they're coming. If we'd lost a bunch of our starters, you'd be like, okay, we've got to rush them into the lineup. But the way we've been playing so far, and this is what I wanted to come back to when you said that earlier there, Johnny, as well, is the form we've been in, it doesn't make sense to rush these guys in. They've been in the door a day and a half. Like, what would Engels have had? One training session. Same with McGowan, same with Trusty. It doesn't make any sense to rush them in. So, yeah, it was great squad management. Get the job done and give them a bit of a run out there as well and get a feel for the game and 60,000 people in the stands on top of you. Yeah, it's just great overall result. But I'm going to bring up the Huns starting lineup because this was my thoughts when I saw theirs. I'm like, Butland, Tavernier, proper. Yeah, the replacement for him was our fifth string centre back. So when Lagerbelka went to replace him at his club, Suter, nothing to worry about there. FD, Sterling, Barron. I'm looking at their lineup and I'm going, I'm not even slightly, I don't even feel slightly threatened looking at that lineup. Like even in the first 10 minutes of the game when they were coming out and they were pressing us, I wasn't even worried. It was such a chilled out vibe for a derby game for me. And yeah, I just thought it was a little bit funny, all things considered. Like I don't even know who half the players are on their bench.
Do you know, honestly, I was about to say that. I don't even know who half their players are on their starting 11. Is it just me? Or I'm like, half the time they rotate some absolute nobodies and I just can't keep up half the time.
I had no idea who half of them were. So it was, it was great fun.
Well, they were pretty rotten. I can tell you that.
Well, my overall thoughts was they had that 10 minutes, as I said, where they were pressing us. And then after that, just the general chat in particular, the first half, I don't really think we got out of second gear. Second half, same deal. It's like we barely got out of second gear and they're supposed to be our biggest rivals. To use some Lenny air quotes, rivals. Yeah, I just don't see it. Like I'm gonna give props to someone else. Paul John Dykes on Axon went on to I think it was BBC or Sky Scotland or something like that, and he said that Ranger Aberdeen, if they spend a bit, can play for second. Well, have a look at the lineup at the ladder at the moment. It's gonna be a bit of an interesting one for them because I've got the ladder here. Look at this at the moment. We're on top on 12 points. Aberdeen, Jimmy Thellon's got them up and about with 12 points as well. Big surprise for me. Dundee United are flying there on 8 points, and then Rangers are in fourth. So, yeah, the fact that they're in fourth this far, I said they'd finish the season in fourth, but I said it would be us, Hearts, Aberdeen, I think it was, and then I had Rangers there in fourth. So I didn't see Hearts being all the way down the bottom, but it's just I know it's early days, but it's kind of funny to see though.
It is funny to see, but I also think that the beginning of the season is where points are dropped quite a lot of the time. So it's I'm not saying that it's necessarily an indictment of what this season's going to be, but you know it's like you know it's exactly where points can be missed and so like you were saying, our supposed rivals are dropping points left, right, and centre.
It's good to see though, isn't it? The start to the season and the three worst teams in the league are Rangers, Hearts, and Kilmarnock. I mean, you really couldn't ask for a better start to the season.
It's the triumvirate of Hunnery.
Aye. Triumvirate, you might say.
There you go. So we knew we'd get there in the end. So we'll bring up a few comments here. So Michael Ross, hail, my fellow happy jubilant Celts. Dominic Toy, the zombies are on the warpath and it's glorious. Don't worry. We're going to talk about that a little later on. Happy Valley. I was wondering how long it would take for someone to put Valley in their name on here now. How folks, it was brilliant. We treated them like a bog standard SPFL fodder they are, and they know we treated them that way.
Emphasis on the bog, yeah.
Yeah. Jobby. There you go. I'll use that term. Jerry's asking us a question. How are you today, lads? Well, Johnny's got a sore throat.
Yeah.
And other than that, I'm
sore head this morning as well.
I'm just magnificent, mate. It's the easiest way to sum it up. Absolutely loving life at the moment. Michael Ross is saying, I had quite a few drinks yesterday and thought all 22 Celtic players on the pitch were fantastic. Well, makes sense. Then there's RL saying the rotation there. Jerry Burns, or you got this comment here, the YouTube clip outside of Ibrox is hilarious. The fans having a meltdown. Oh, yeah, we'll be talking about that later on. Don't you worry about it. Andrew, I think you're referring to the new players that still have to work their way into the team. Lots of games coming up, 100%. And it's perfect timing with the international break. Get our guys in, get them working with Brendan and the other guys and figuring out the patterns and everything, and off we go. So should be good. What do we got?
But really good signs when the subs came on, actually. Like like you were saying before, they probably only had one training session, and I mean McCowan especially looked really up to speed and
He was up and about.
lots of energy. Yeah, he looks really promising.
Well, if you've seen every interview he's done since he signed for the club, and he looks like he's walking around with a big, massive pair of turkey teeth going on at the moment because he's just so happy and so smiley. Like, I'm at the club of my dreams, my boyhood club, the one I support, my granddad played for or something like that. And he's just like buzzing. He's just like so up and about. And as he said, like 30-second phone call with Brendan, and he goes, I was ready to run anywhere for him. So, McLaughlin's saying, give Bernardo another 6 months, he'll be bossing this league. Yeah, he was unbelievable yesterday. We'll get into each individual player as we go through. We normally do a player focus after a derby. We get into all of them. Andrew's saying Home and Yang for January loans. 100%, mate. Home, I wouldn't see him go on one of those Ryan Christie sort of loans or a Chris Aya sort of loan for 6 months, at least in the league elsewhere. Pete's saying the starting 11 recently has been picking itself, so it'll be interesting to see if any of the newbies manage to grab a regular place. I think it's Brendan's looking at it like it's a squad game, probably. Realistically, it's not going to be a starting 11. It's going to be like probably a 15, 16 man rotation that we just horses for courses. Who needs a rotation? Like if Carter Vickers is leg weary, you can chuck someone else in. If Hatade's, the sports scientists are telling him Hatade needs a game off here and there, you've got players you can jump in there now. So it's something we didn't have last year. Michael Ross has given us a tip. We must watch Stevie Cool's podcast with his meltdown. I'll be keeping an eye for that.
Chris Boyd is going to take some beating.
So it was an unseen Fijian hand. Yep. Pete saying some Rangers podcasts are actually conceding the season already. That's pretty funny. And the Bankies. Craven Moorcock, what a name. Cantwell tried hard, so did Jack. They missed them. I don't really care, to be honest with you, so if they miss them or not. But yeah, it's as Andrew's saying here, McGowan knows the opposition. RL77 about the carry on, the Huns got a Hun. I love that. That's brilliant. Yeah. So, yeah, we'll get into the game a little more now. We'll come back to it. So, chat about the first half. For me, looking at it and watching it all, it was, as I said, didn't really feel threatened. Yes, their press was a bit surprising. Wasn't expecting it. But, geez, Casper looks like he's just got ice in his veins. Like, seriously, the press being on him and getting so close to him every single time and just, I'll just tap it to Calmac here. I'll just pass it across. The defender is to my left, but I'll still pass across in front of him to Scales. I'll go to CCV and just tapping it around. The whole back line just looked that way. And I'm like, these guys, I don't know. I just think this is crazy watching how loosey-goosey is probably the easiest way to sum up how they were. With it, they knew what it was going to be a fake sort of thing. And then, yeah, for me, once we got that goal that was wrongly taken away, in my opinion, that was it for them. Someone put a fork in them, they were done. But Liam, what was your overall first thoughts on the first half?
It was. I mean, the thing is, for the first 5-10 minutes, they actually, to give them some sort of credit, they came out and had a go because I think they knew they had to. The only way they could possibly get anything was if they managed to, sneak a goal against us. But as soon as we got the goal that was disallowed, I think their game plan just went to pieces. Their team lost it mentally because we gripped them open once, and it was only a couple of minutes before we did it again. And after that the first goal that stood, it was all one-way traffic. We were completely in control, completely dominant. And it was one of those games where it was the win was as big as we allowed it to be, because had we really gone for the throat, we could have taken 10 off them yesterday.
How good would that have been, Liam, to get that 10 game I've been joking about for ages against them in a derby?
Oh, I mean, it still might happen the way things are going. You never know.
Yep. And Johnny, what was your thoughts on the first half?
I certainly agree. It was 3 going on 30 at some points. They're always weird ones for me. If it was any other opposition, even Champions League, I'm far less nervous. Champions League, I'm more excited than I am nervous. But that first 10-15 minutes, I was sort of heart in my mouth tense. Like I at the time really did see them scoring a goal. It was some of the passing at the back was giving me the fear, the lack of urgency, things like that. I was really seeing this as us going into the game with a bit of arrogance, and getting a little bit of humbling. The second that 15 minutes passed and we got that disallowed goal, something just changed. And I psychologically, it must have been tough because I think even the Rangers players probably assumed that should have been a goal. But I think psychologically for our own players, they just went, actually, we just turned that up one notch and we got a goal out of it. Let's go again. That was quite easy. Let's just, because all of a sudden everything was clicking. Possession, off the ball, the quickness of our passing, reading the space, all of it just sort of clicked. And it was just, from then, it was just, as we were saying, it was just a bit of a training session. At times, we lost possession for a while, but we still controlled the game, defended brilliantly. So, yeah, first half was just, after that, for me, after that sort of 10 minutes, all of a sudden, it was just fantastic to watch.
Yeah, we'll go to the goal. So the one that was chalked off. Why I said early on that it was incorrectly chalked off, right? And I'm just going to tie it into something you just said there, John, where we went up a gear after that. We're like, oh, we went up one gear and we scored a goal, even though it was chalked off. To me, I'm like, the players looked a little pissed off afterwards. Like, what? You got that one wrong. You guys are trying to stitch us up. We know who you are in the box. We know who you are on the pitch. You're trying to stitch us up here. No. It's not going to happen. Let's go. And we got the job done. So that's what it looked like to me. It was a bit of they pissed our guys off. It's probably the easiest way to sum it up, and made a couple of guys a bit angry, and off we went to the races there. So
again,
yeah,
I just throw it. Is clear and obvious just no longer a rule? Is that to be put in the bin? Because you can't be going to those bloody margins and telling me that that's a clear and obvious mistake. Everybody was assuming that was an onside goal. Yeah, he's smiling, but I think that's some nefarious doings going on.
I'm laughing, Johnny, because I was going exactly to where you just went when you jumped in. I'm like, what? I don't find clear and obvious error, as you said. Was it clear and obvious error? No, the lines are pretty much on top of each other. But the thing is, the point of emphasis to where they measure where you're onside and offside, what does it have to be above all else? It has to be a part of the body that you can score with.
Oh, that's the most logical.
You can score with a shoulder. You can shoulder the ball in. You can header the ball in. You can knee the ball in. You can kick it with your foot. So there's the 4 points are shoulder, head, knee, foot. That's pretty much the spots you can score with, right? Where'd they put the line on our player down from? Did you see where that came from? His elbow.
The elbow.
You can't bloody score with your elbow. Just ridiculous.
There are.
But as Shane is saying in the comments here, clear and obvious doesn't apply for offsides. It's either offside or not. And yes, those measurements were suspicious. So yes, it is clear and obvious. But at the same point, as I'm saying here, if you're going to check the offside, which they do for every goal anyway, it's the 4 points you can score with. I rest my case.
If we're giving them a lot of the benefit of the doubt, there is an element of if you're in that box and you're in that position, you're kind of expected to find these little things. You're almost like, oh well, I'll zoom right in and see the micromillimeters to see if that is actually on or offside, like because that's my job.
Stick measurement.
It is, yeah. And that's me giving a lot of benefit of doubt because I also think every single Celtic goal would have been forensically investigated to make sure that something never happened prior. So, but at the end of the day, we did have a goal denied. We still bossed the game. We still, in the first half, managed to get 2 more in. So that's what I'm saying. Three going on 30.
So McLaughlin in the comments is saying, look, touch and go where I sat, and he's in the north upper and couldn't tell, and that I knew not to celebrate. That's the frustrating part with this. I'm sitting just behind this flag here watching the game, and we scored, and straight away I'm like, they're going to find something here. So I was like, I gave the fist bump, and that was it. And then I'm like, okay, now we wait for them to take it off us.
Well, the annoying thing is with Celtic TV being about 3 minutes behind the rest of the world, my phone had already beeped and said 0-0, and I was like, oh shit, this goal's getting chopped off. And sure enough, that's what happened. You know?
But I actually hate that. I have to turn my phone off now. I can't. I just can't even have it on games because it ruins it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It just ruins watching the game.
I put on to do not disturb so that unless I'm actually have my phone in my hand looking at something, I'm not going to. And yeah, I got caught out with Kyogo's goal, but yeah, it was all I saw was Kyogo across the top of the screen.
So you got caught out with a goal, so did the Hun keeper by the looks of it.
Yeah, so then, yeah, our goals. The first goal there, Liam. What's your thoughts on that?
I think that the first and second goals, we really need to acknowledge the work leading up to them. Alistair Johnson was brilliant in setting up that first goal. Greg Taylor did a brilliant job to put Kyogo through for the second goal. It's great to see that our 2 attacking fullbacks both played important roles in our first 2 goals. That was really good to see. And it's funny how all the talk pre-game was about what Dyson was going to do to Tavernier, and yet the goal, actually, the first goal came from an attack down the right, and which showed you that yes, Dyson had a great game yesterday, and he did make Tavernier look like a fool, but we were able to open them up down the right side just as much, if not more, as well.
Pete McGee's saying something to you, Liam. Let's not forget Bernardo's dink to find AJ's win.
Yeah, very good point, Pete. Aye. Bernardo was superb throughout yesterday. I
really liked the look of him playing in that role, whereas it looked like him and Hatade were alternating into the 10 role, and the other one was holding. So if one went for a run, one would hold back, but then they were both like aggressive on the press, trying to win it back quickly. I look at it and go, Bernardo's got a lot of room there, a lot more to him than I thought coming into this season. So it was great to see as well. But yeah, the first goal was class, great build up, got it done, and then Kyogo's interview with Greg Taylor next to him.
That was very good. I enjoyed it.
He summed it up so much. He's like, oh yeah, didn't see keeper, just shot.
Go!
Go! Brilliant. So glad he's hung around and didn't go to Man City and everything. Like, that was just class. Like that, I saw that goal and I'm just watching it. And as soon as he's hit it, I'm like, "What?
That's a goal.
There it is." I'm like, "What you do? Oh yeah, there we to celebrate that one. I can take that one off us."
That was the exact thought I had in my head as well. Try and take that one off us. It was a beautiful goal. A proper centre forwards goal.
Yep.
I very much enjoyed that one.
That was basically, "What's the goalie doing, Tom?" for the second time. Pretty much the way to do it. What was he doing? Who knows?
Oh, speaking of that, if you go back and watch yesterday with the Rangers TV commentary, that is absolute comedy gold as well.
As much as I don't want to do that, Liam, now you kind of had me at hello there. Now I actually want to. I would feel dumb listening to it, but at the same time, it needs to happen.
Nah, it's the best bit, Jared. So it's listening to all of the Rangers media after we beat them. I used to work on site, and that's all I'd listen to for like 3 days. It's just back to back Rangers podcasts after we beaten them. 8 hours digging. It was brilliant.
Just remember, kids, Huntiers are a dangerous drug. Do not overdose.
So, yeah, we get into the second half. I thought it was a bit of an interesting game in terms of we got out there and it was more of the same. It was just we're going through the motions. As you said, Johnny, a bit of a training run sort of thing. It was like cones that moved is the way I summed it up. Talking to one of the guys at work about it today who's a Tottenham fan. And it's like, I was saying, yeah, it's like we're playing as cones that moved. And he tried to go, "Oh, so what happened in the old firm?" And I said, don't talk to me unless you can use the right term. So even he's getting educated. So I'm not allowing that OF term in my office. Don't do it. Yeah, it was second half was just good. It was just go through the motions, have a bit of a kick around here, get some players in. Seeing McGowan come on, seeing Engels come on. Engels is a lot bigger than I thought he was. It's actually interesting to have some size there.
He's a tall lad. I also noticed that. Yeah.
He's in the Rogic mold.
He is, and movement was fantastic. Like I know, I think he made some mistakes, but I think that's to be expected of just coming on and such a big game to start. But his passing was pretty good. There was a lot of talk about him at the table I was at, and yeah, well, I mean, we won't speak too soon, but it looks extremely promising.
Yep.
It's nice that, isn't it? Just we'll just bring on our record signing for a wee stroll for the last 20 minutes.
Let's just see this out. We'll just quickly bring on the £11 million player.
And then after that, we'll just bring on a £9.5 million player, if you believe it as well. So there's 20 million.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And I still personally think McCarron had the better game of all the subs that came on. To be honest, I think somebody said it in the comments that he understands the occasion best. So he knew the type of energy. Like he obviously has a Celtic fan. He has that pride and the determination that you kind of need, that grit in that type of game. But yeah, it wasn't like he was just running around for the sake of running around. Like it was really good pressing. So because what cost us like $1 million, something like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that could be the best $1 million we've spent so far, to be honest.
He's going to play a bigger role than I initially thought he would, based on yesterday's performance. That's a guy that's going to have a say this season, and it's going to be good to watch.
It's coming in like a Paul Hartley type of signing where it's under the radar from another Scottish club. And originally you're like, that's an odd one. And then what happens? He comes on to establish himself. Like, for me, he's already done more than I expected.
The other one that done that recently was Greg Taylor, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
Bit of a under the radar other Scottish team. Didn't really have high expectations, and as you said, established himself.
I think you saw that with Bernardo yesterday as well, the kind of Greg Taylor factor, the idea that, see, because we've just went out and signed a guy who most people think is going to take Bernardo's place in the team, it's given Bernardo that motivation to make him, I think, play even better. Because, Taylor has had that twice now. He's had Bolingoli try to displace him, then he's had Bernabe try to displace him. And both times, all it's done actually is made Taylor a better player. So I think there's a similar effect at play with Bernardo now, and that's great.
We'll go back further, Liam. We'll go back to Rogers' first run. You got Jamesy on the wing, and then you've got Paddy Roberts challenging him and taking his spot. In this competition for places, everyone's standards have to go up or you sit on the bench.
Yep.
But yeah, it was
I think it's definitely the model that Rogers is going for, is that no position is guaranteed bar maybe one or two. And I think we've made the comment earlier, which is the amount of games we're about to play. I mean, the extra Champions League game, hopefully after Christmas Champions League, plus all the cup competitions, plus league games, a lot of games to play, and we need, like, if somebody's coming off, we need someone who's coming on, who's just as good, just as competent, and high energy and all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, hopefully we're getting that. Seems like we have. I've only seen them for one game or 20 minutes of the game or something. But
yeah, it's good to see overall. So, Calmac's goal, pick that one out.
Belter.
Absolute belter. Love it.
I've just watched it back. I watched it back before we jumped on, because somebody was saying it was a deflection. It's no deflection. I can't see a deflection. That was a absolute curler. That was incredible to me.
He just puts the laces through it and bang, see you later. Good luck picking that, getting that. Go pick it out of your net.
It's one of them. It might have glanced the defender's boot on the way through, but it did not alter the flight of the ball. That was flying into the top corner, regardless of what it connected with on the way through.
All I gotta say, Liam, is if he keeps hitting them like that this season, it's gonna be a bit of an interesting one for him. He's gonna start having some Roberto Carlos swervy goals going on, the way he's absolutely belting them. So it's it's just, he's in all sorts of form, and as Michael Ross is saying here, Calmac continues this form to be player of the year.
Yeah.
Can't argue with that.
I think that's like the third, maybe fourth goal he scored from the sort of 20-yard area, 20 5 yards. That whatever's happened, I don't know what's happened during the break, but Calmac's just decided, I can score goals now. I'm allowed to score goals.
Maybe Brendan's told him, if you get up the pitch, you are allowed to shoot.
Yeah.
You used to crack him in my first stint with Bruni sitting behind you. Don't worry, just go put the laces through it.
It's certainly working. Just he could get 10 to 15 goals this season if he keeps going this way.
Yeah,
it'd be funny if he ended up being the one that kind of replaces O'Reilly in terms of the goal contribution.
Yeah, it would.
We had a question here for you, Liam, from Jerry Burns. He's saying, what's Liam's thoughts on Awada leaving Celtic? I know he was a big fan. We're going to do, before you answer that, we're going to do an actual, on Thursday, the Thursday Sesh podcast, we're going to do a full-on review of the who's departed, who's still here, surprisingly, our new signings, and look at the transfer window from start to finish. But for this particular one, Liam, what's your thoughts on that?
I'll be honest, of all the activity in the transfer window, that was the only thing that's really disappointed me. I think Iwata was a very good player who, probably due to the fact that he's too similar to Calmac, never got a consistent run in the team, because that is the one guy who, apart from injury, is basically undroppable. And it's going to be a frustrating one, because I think anybody who follows Iwata's career from here on out is going to see what a great player he is, because he's going to go on to be very successful with Birmingham and I think he'll move up, possibly eventually into the English Premier League. I think he is potentially that good, and it's a shame, but maybe with the players that we've brought in and with the way the midfield is setting up now, there's probably maybe just been a conversation in the background. Brendan Rodgers has said to him, look, you're a squad player and that's all you're going to be under this current system. And Iwata's said, all right, fair enough, I'll go somewhere where I can play then. And I think Brendan Rodgers alluded to that in his conference last week before that was confirmed. I mean, I actually thought it might have been Yang he was talking about rather than Iwata when he said, there are guys who want to play and I don't blame them for going elsewhere to play. But I was kind of shocked and sad to see that it was Iwata. Because the other thing is, a few people made the comment about, well, we've got to balance the number of non-Scottish players in the squad, non-association trained, etc., because of the European thing. But with the greatest of respect to them, there's probably about half a dozen other players I would sooner leave out the European squad before Iwata, if you're talking like non-Scottish players at Celtic at the moment.
So for me, Liam, I just looked at it and thought I was disappointed because, quality player. And the fact that he's gone down to Birmingham, we paid I think it was $950 or something like that for him, £950,000, $950,000. And according to Transfer Market, we had we ended up we made about £35,000 profit on him. That was it. So I'm disappointed we didn't make enough on him in that regard. But as you're saying, Liam, he's not going to play. And realistically, if you're Sinosalo coming in, backing up Casper, you're not going to play. If you're the back, if you're a 6 and Colmack is starting, you're not going to play unless Colmack's rotating out or is injured. So unfortunately, it's not a good spot for him to be in. Going to Birmingham, he's too good for that league, in my opinion. He will tear that up. He'll go for big money. He'll end up in either the Premiership or he'll go to Germany or something like that and be an absolute star. So
I was going to say, I hope he eventually ends up in Spain or Germany because I think those are the leagues that would best suit his style of play.
Is his age a factor? I led to believe he's slightly older, 29, 30-ish.
27, I believe.
26 or 27 or something.
Yeah. No, I think he's only a few months older than Rio Hatate. And Hatate will be 28 on my birthday this year. We've got the same birthday, so yeah.
Then what did you say? He's a couple of months older than Hatate.
Aye.
And then you said Hatate, but before that you said he's 26, 27, and that he's going to. But if he's 28, then he's going to be 29, which ties into what Johnny was saying. So there you go.
No, Hatate will be 28 in November. Okay. That was the point I was making, and I think Iwata's 28 now. That's
okay.
Right.
Sold him at the right point. Done. Whatever. Oh, good.
27.
So yeah.
I did fail maths in high school, just for clarification purposes.
The math ain't mathin', mate.
No.
So back to the derby.
Less math, more meth. Moving on.
Yeah. So back to the derby. Any controversial moments that you want to discuss in the game? For me, there was the offside, obviously, the offside goal taken off us. Was there anything else that you thought? Because the one I want to touch on is how the hell does Alistair Johnson get a yellow for getting clotheslined by someone?
That was what I was going to say. Yeah.
That's the only other thing I can think of because the rest of the game, there was very little fight in the game, yet I don't know how the ref gave out so many yellow cards. So, Johnny,
you're wrestling, Jared. Breaking kayfabe is a no-no, right? So he didn't sell the move properly. So
it was a lariat.
But where's this VAR review? You can't. He effectively just. I mean, he didn't punch him in the face, but you can't armbar, clothesline somebody right across the chin and then book the person who got chinned. Like that. Yeah. That was the most bizarre decision. But I will also say that AJ took it like a champ and just got up and got on with the game. So it wasn't. I think maybe his reaction dulled down the referees or somebody else's, the VAR referees' decisions. So yeah,
AJ did grow up, Johnny, playing ice hockey. So he's probably like, "What was that? A fly on me?
Yeah.
Landed on me, or what?"
Yeah, I thought it was a bit of handbags. I think AJ might have just not even checked him, but just not moved out of the way, and he's thrown his arm across his face. It was an odd one. Yeah.
It was very Cantwell-esque, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Something he'd do to be fake tough. Pete McGee's making a comment here saying, "Beaten pulling back play when we were bursting forward. It happened several times. He thought that was controversial."
Yep.
And then also on that, something I noticed is he was constantly getting in the way of our midfield play. So, say if we were on the left side and we're trying to switch it across, he was always basically, if Kelmack's in the middle, he was 2 meters away from him, standing where he needs to, always trying to make the pass out to our winger. So, yeah, it was a bit of a pain in the ass with that.
I seem to remember telling Cal Mack to fuck off as well, live on camera. That can be controversial.
Best thing as well was when Hatade nutmegged Beaton in the first half, because he was in the way. So he's just like, "All right, I can't go around ya." Bang, and just megged him to get the pass through.
He was in the way a lot, actually, like a lot. It always seemed to be just where the worst place a ref could have been.
As Pat's saying in the comments here, Beaton did everything in an attempt to nullify Celtic. He was their best defender. Never played advantage. He delivered their blueprint.
But you know, that's the thing, though. I mean, he's right. He's right that Beaton did help them a lot, but so much of it was down just him being a shite referee, not particularly being pro Rangers. I thought, you know, it was like, he was trying to help them out, but if he was actually going to properly do that, there were far more competent ways of doing it than what he actually did.
Bit of a shite bag is the easiest way to sum him up.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll go through our player focus that we normally would. So, Kasper Schmeichel made a few, actually had to make some saves. There was a comment in here, I think it was from B, I'm going to try and find it, saying that he's like La Grande Muralla 2 or something like that.
The Great Wall.
Yep. Kasper Schmeichel, the Grand Muralla 2. There you go. I love it.
Yep.
He's doing well there. We go across the back line. Johnny, start off with Taylor. What was your thoughts on him?
I thought Taylor played well. I think he I mean, look, if we're going to be critical, a bit more analytical, I think he definitely had moments where he could have done better, but he can't be perfect for 90 minutes. But I thought him coming in, he seems to like to invert an awful lot, and that when Kyogo maybe didn't drop in, what Greg Taylor did very, very well is come into the middle and then make us just overload when they try to man mark and stuff or go 1-for-1. So, yeah, I think Greg Taylor played fantastically overall.
Liam, I'll let you go for CCV.
Solid, dependable, threw himself in front of everything he had to. Just a really good, exactly what you hope and expect from your best defender. Just good, solid display. Took no nonsense for them. Absolutely bossed it. Aye. Future Celtic captain in the making.
I'll go with Scales. For me, I thought he was our best defender. Borderline man of the match, in my opinion. Like, he was imperious. Every time the ball was there to be won, he was like jumping and out, like he was out jumping them, getting his head into places he normally wouldn't get it. He was just dominating in the air with the ball at his feet. I think he only had one bobble there, but we got away with it. And the rest of the time, just with their press and how well he was playing out the back, I was just very happy with the way he performed. And Johnny, will let you go for AJ.
I thought AJ was instrumental in our success, to be honest. I think I think I have been critical of his performances last season. I think from what we were used to last season, it was a little bit in a trough. I think we're seeing the beginning of peak AJ again. I thought he was very creative. I thought it was high energy, and yeah, like I say, like a real kingpin to a lot of our success. To be perfectly honest.
Now, Liam, I'm going to throw to you, and I'm just going to lump all the midfielders together. So,
All right.
cover the midfield. Here you go.
Okay. Callum McGregor, man of the match for me. Absolutely superb. Did not put a foot wrong. I really liked, you saw him having the word in McCowan's ear as he came on, just kind of talking him through it. Obviously knew the guy was going to be full of nervous energy coming on to, make his debut for his boyhood team in a derby. And McGregor just kind of talked him through it, which was really, really good. Excellent captaincy. Bernardo, potential man of the match for me. I think it was between him, Scales, and AJ. And in my opinion, those three were the three standouts. I thought that Hatate had just a really good, solid game. Missed that chance, which I still don't quite know how he missed it. But apart from that, good, solid game, linking up the play well. Not so much doing much in his own right as freeing up space for others to do their thing. The amount of times he played in Maeda or he played in Kyogo, it was more of a kind of a, he was sitting a bit deeper than usual, but he did very well. Yeah, so who have we got next? That's up front. So Maeda, excellent again, possible
Jeez,
man of
he's
the match.
jumping ahead. He's jumping ahead. He's putting Maeda in the midfield.
Who have I missed? Sorry, I'm half asleep.
So you had Kelmac, you had Hatate, and you've got
Bernardo. Yeah. Aye, and I
Has he-
covered the three of them. I said they were all
the three of
excellent.
them. He's jumping ahead. I was going to go Johnny. Go the wingers.
All right, sorry.
You just wanted to talk about your man crush Maeda. That's all it is.
All right.
Pedro under the desk. Sort him out.
Right, you talk about Maeda, and I'm just going to sit here and have some quiet time.
Yeah. You tell me if I'm wrong, Liam. It's fine. I'll do my best. I think Maeda was completely and utterly schooled Tav in all aspects. Just embarrassed him. Utterly embarrassed him. What Maeda does very, very well is not only is his speed and his athleticism, but he knows exactly when to press. He knows when not to, and then he knows when to go, and that is just enjoyable to watch. Maeda, when Maeda doesn't play, I think we suffer a little bit. And I'm not even saying that he's ultimately the best winger we've ever had, but I think his all-round attributes, we miss him if he doesn't play. Is that good enough, Maeda?
There's a message for you from Shane.
What I call him? A tit instead.
Well, he dies and calls him bitch, doesn't he? So
Just call him Mr. Disappointed.
Yeah, Mr. Loser.
Yeah. The thing with Maeda is like his work rate. Also, the thing you didn't touch on is when he tracks back as well. Like there was one point where he was up the front, and then him and Kyogo tracked all the way back. There was like a centre back, Kyogo and Maeda all the way back there, and then then Kyogo takes a while to get back up the pitch, and Maeda's already back, furthest man forward again. Like 20 seconds later, it was unbelievable. Just the work rate. We used to joke that Tom Rogic could only play 60 minutes because he only had like one lung.
Yeah,
and
my head is not the other one.
I reckon Maeda plays with it. He's got about 5 of them. Yeah, so I'll finish it off with Kyogo up front. I don't know what word to say other than the best striker we have had at Celtic since Larson, in my opinion. He can finish multiple different ways. He can affect the game multiple ways, whether he's got to come deep to get the ball and get in link-up play, to be on the end of crosses. He's just an all-round class act. And, yeah, love Kyogo. That's all I've got to say. Like,
Do you know
there's
what?
all
Do you know
sorts of
what,
names coming up here in the comments, so I'm kind of having to bring them there. Michael Ross is saying Tav Clown.
Clown, yeah.
McLaughlin's saying Tav Beat. RL77, Tav Penis.
Yeah,
Had
okay.
to do to see Johnny's response.
Yeah, Tav Penis is the winner for me.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Do you know what's
Go on,
very
Johnny.
good about Kyogo's game now is he's clearly worked with Brendan, and he comes back a lot. So he drops back and he picks the ball up in the middle and he turns and and that's something that he didn't do before. And the fact that he's changed his game so much so quickly, I think, is a testament to his skill, right? And Liam, you can tell me if I'm wrong here, but surely to God, at some point, the versatility of Kyogo's game is going to get him a call up to the Japan squad. Like that's the next step for him, right?
I think
right?
It has to. It has to eventually. You know, the Moriyasu has been quite stubborn about how, he's said numerous times that Kyogo doesn't play that kind of role when he plays for Japan, and he needs a player who's going to play the role he wants him to play. But there comes to a point where you've got to say, look, if the player's best as a striker, play him as a bloody striker. I mean, Maeda can move out to the left and be very effective for Japan. Kyogo could be playing through the middle and be very, very effective. I think it's going to require a change in manager at Japan, unfortunately. And Moriyasu is, he's not in trouble, but he's not particularly well liked either. So I don't think it would take too much for him to be moved on. So you never know.
So I'm going to bring up a couple of comments here about Kyogo. So McLaughlin saying 74 career goals at Celtic for Kyogo. Not bad considering he was injured for 5 months in his first season. Pete McGee saying people were slagging Brendan Rodgers off last season because Kyogo was coming back deeper. Now look at him.
Yeah.
I may have been one of those people. I'll put my hands up. I think I said it once or twice because I was frustrated. Why can't we just play to his strength? But seeing the development in him now, okay, I understand it. I get it. And it's great for Kyogo as well because now he's not battling against two big centre backs all the time. So, yeah.
But,
great.
That's been I think the fundamental as to why we've been so good this season compared to how patchy we were last season. As you look through the team, McGregor, Hatate, Kyogo, all three of them have a much better idea of what their role is now than they did last season. And it shows. It really shows.
Yep, 100%. So, man of the match. Who was your man of the match, Johnny?
My man of the match. Do you know, honestly, probably Bernardo. I think that because he shocked me the most. I think, yeah, he just surprised me with his game. To be honest, we saw glimpses of it last season, but I think that was the most refined. And yeah, I'm happy to say I hold my hands up, and he's proved me wrong quite severely. So I think he's my man of the match.
For me, it was Scales. Liam, what are you saying?
Alistair Johnson. I thought he was just absolutely brilliant, linking up down the right. Him and Kuhn both, particularly in the first half, were absolutely immense. But yeah, I just thought he didn't put a foot wrong. Instrumental in the first goal, solid all day. That was Alistair Johnson for me.
So we've got RL77 saying Paolo Bernardo was man of the match for me. And then there's a few others here. So Andrew's saying made a man of the match. McLaughlin saying Scales. Pete McGee saying Bernardo. RL77 saying Bernardo again. Maida, and then Pete McGee saying you could actually choose any 6 of them for man of the match, 100%. So I want to I want to say man of the match is Hoopy the Huddle Hound, because he must have been that good if we didn't see him out there. But we'll as we start to wrap things up, we're just going to go through a few of the favorite. Like, we're going to ask you a few things here, but I want to bring up a few of the memes that I've got from after the game. So first of all, I'll bring up a few pictures. I love this one here from Musa Dembele and the Celtic tweet. Why we're still playing them, waste of time, but enjoying to see them crash again and again. That's why we love Musa. Do you think this Rangers charity evening with Philip Clement will be cancelled? Fair chance it will.
I don't know. I'd be up for buying a ticket for that. It'll be some laugh.
Yeah.
Go in disguise.
Watch all the screaming.
I love this one. It's like just Brendan's eyes looking up at Clement there, like, you dickhead.
Caption: You okay, hun?
Yeah.
You raging, hun? There you go. Then we got Boyd raging.
Oh dear.
But it gets better. That's not even the worst face from the game. This is after he got booked. Now there's the cycle of the cycle of Rangers fans. So Celtic win the league. We're not far off it. Commence rebuild, win the league in the summer, start season poorly, manager sacked, new manager appointed, manager genius, lose versus Celtic, blame Tav and Goldson. So they're at that point at the moment.
Tav penis.
Tav penis. Yep.
Tav penis.
There was this one here I loved. So Willie Robertson on Twitter. Why would a billionaire not take over Rangers? Good family club with values.
Balloon.
Billionaire, yeah. Historic games, Champions League every year, class stadium. I think a shake will buy us. This comment. What sort of shake you thinking, Willie? Protein, milk, or meal replacement?
Masonic corn shake.
Then you've got the idiot Cantwell who can't stay out of it. Sometimes you don't know what you need until it's gone. So he's trying to like big up himself after that. The two best ones of the lot, though, is this is pretty much every Celtic fan watching the game last night after the win. This is great. We need to the Guinness logo. I promise I won't get political tonight. Then by the end there, you basically remember a kneecap. And this was my favourite one of the lot, Paddy Power. Philip Clement has been named new manager of Rangers until a few months into next season when they lose the first Old Firm derby and go more than 5 points behind Celtic in the league. 15th of October 2023, they wrote that tweet. Other than the term Old Firm being in there, they're spot on. Now, Johnny, you sent this in our group chat. That's last night at the Brisbane CSC for anyone overseas.
Yeah, it was brilliant. Willie Wallace was there. Willie Wallace was, and his wife were there. And they had a presentation of. I think it was a replica Lisbon Lions top, but he had signed it and stuff. And yeah, it was just good. He did a wee speech, just talked about the day and stuff. Lots of singing after he finished and stuff. And but yeah, it was a really good turnout. I think there's probably about 300 people at the venue on Cactus Street. It was brilliant. It was a good day. The best part of the entire evening was the third goal when my cousin actually spilt a pint and then spilt onto Willie Wallace's wife. That was extreme. that was pretty fucking funny.
Oh god!
Everybody in rugby tackled everybody else. Fucking pints and shit went up, and oh god.
So your cousin had his moment like when Shane last year fell over and then couldn't get up because he knocked a stool over. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. But more embarrassing for the club legend.
Everyone has that sort of moment at CSC at some point in their life. So yeah, good fun. So what I want to ask you boys is, what was your favourite zombie meltdown post game? My favourite one was the guy in the puffer jacket and shorts out the front of Ibrox telling them they're all shite and everything, constantly over and over, acting all tough when there's a tiny little railing in front of him. He was my favourite. But what was your favourite meltdown moment, Liam?
Chris Boyd. The part where Chris Sutton says to him, "I just want to give you a hug, mate. We'll maybe do a wee huddle later on." And the other bit of that, which I saw was, I actually think Chris Boyd swears at one point. Yeah, I'm sure he says we're fucking struggling to get ahead of Aberdeen now. I think he actually does say that.
Yep. Here's the old dump button, Liam. Johnny, what was your favourite?
I think my favourite meltdown video would have been all the fans right up against the bus as they're all coming back, screaming at, and then it just pans over to the mum with with the baby in a pram and the kids going. So taking the kids to the zoo. Come and watch the animals.
They weren't people watching.
That was very good.
Brilliant. So, last question for you before you start to wrap the pod up and go to our final thoughts. Do you think Baltimore will see the next derby, or do you think they'll try to fire him even though they just extended his contract?
I can't afford anyone else.
I know, they're already still paying 3 managers this season, so they're going to add another one to the list. They can't afford to.
No, definitely not.
The only way that he's not there is if he chooses to walk and rip up the contract for the sake of his own reputation, because he actually had a pretty good rep before he came to Rangers. So,
Yep.
Aye, if he's not there, it's because he's chosen to walk away. They can't afford to sack him, and sacking him won't change anything because it's still the same shower of shite they got to play with. So.
Yeah, as Mark Ross is saying, they can't afford to sack him. So, yeah, what we'll do is we'll go to our final thoughts and then we'll call it a day. So, Liam, you want to go first?
Okay. So, we bit of a wisdom here. Guys, what we say sometimes, actually where we say it is almost as important as what we say. Jesus loves you. The wonderful thing to hear when you get into chapel or into church. Not such a good thing to hear when you're in a Mexican prison.
Very good.
I knew exactly where you were going when you said that, Liam. My brother sent me that meme earlier today.
It's a beauty.
Johnny?
Kneecap are coming to Australia now that you mentioned them. They're doing a little mini tour in Australia, so get your Celtic tops on and come join me watching Kneecap in Brisbane. Be good.
Before I go to my one, Pete McGee's got a final thought. Celtic have just won their 55th title.
Yep.
Michael Ross is asking, is McCausland actually human? I don't know what that is. And my final thought, I have to tip my hat. If I was wearing one, it would be like that. To my wife, I said to her right before the game last night, I said, what's the score prediction? As I was heading into this room, and she goes, 3-0. Kyogo will score.
Perfect.
She knows her shit, so I'll give her credit on a podcast for once. So, well done. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Appreciate it. I'll be back there'll be the weekend review in a couple of hours, and then we'll have the Thursday session. We'll be going through the transfers and everything in the window in things. So we'll see you all then. Until then, hail, hail.
Hello.